All right, everybody, welcome back to another Ask a Dev Unreal Engine dev stream. We are making an indie game. My name's Kevin. We started this adventure a little while ago. The way these dev streams work is this is kind of like a live open conversation on some dev topic usually that I'm struggling with or working on. Not always struggling, but sometimes if you watch the streams, it probably seems like that's what I'm doing most of the time. But this is just as I go, as I'm building out the Rend, which is what I'm now calling the combat platformer. I'm just making this stuff up as I go. We'll see what it actually ends up being when we're done. But as I go through, I reach these points in time. Twice a week, we stream. It's an open conversation. You'll hear Patreon members in here asking questions about what I'm working on today. And then usually afterwards, we all hang out and talk about people's individual game questions and stuff like that. Today, we're going to be working on progression, actually, which should be, it is a crazy spaghetti mess of a can of worms. So we're building out a progression component, trying to get everything working, and it's just going to be easier to show you. So let's hop in. My usual suspects are here for now. Naroda and Rusty, thanks for hopping in, being part of this whole adventure. To the rest of Patreon members, everybody's watching, thanks for supporting the channel, thanks for spreading the word, and thanks for being part of the Patreon community that's helping fuel this whole fun ride. So with that, let's hop in. We don't even have Unreal open yet, so we're going to get this kicked off, and while that's getting kicked off, I'm going to show you all some of the things that I'm talking about. So we came up with a bunch of design docs. These are all, and I'm not gonna read these to you. Don't worry, all. But the point is, they generally all have the same kind of setup, and they kind of just lay out the type of magic, what primary attacks do, melee, ranged, the different tiers, how the perfect strike mechanic works for each one, base spell masteries, progression paths, like choosing whether or not you're going to use, for example, for drift. When you're fighting, you have your normal melee attack, you have your ranged attack, and then there's you can choose. What I'm going with right now is you'll be able to choose within the drift magic type. You'll be able to choose whether or not you're a Mistweaver, a Phantom Trickster, or a Shadow Mirage, and depending on which of these things you equip along the way, this changes your kit. And then there's hybrid mechanics as other magic types starts to go in, but these are all broken out in these different ways. So for example, the Owlbear, you can do Stormbringer, Thunderstrider, and Raging Tempest. These are all, these change kind of your core magic spells and stuff like that. So the trick is, or what is challenging about this is, the basics are pretty straightforward. However, once they start mixing and matching, things start to get nuts. And then I've taken all of that and I've dropped those into tables. So here's a table of kind of just all of the magic types, how they progress, damage, numbers, etc. So kind of like trying to do sort of like a legit design doc pass on all of these things. And now what we are trying to do is we are trying to make this work in game. Now, there's a bunch of rules we're breaking here, but I have really good reasons for it, or at least I've convinced myself I have really good reasons for this. So, a lot of times designers will sit down and they'll do like paper combat, paper design, and they'll just kind of prove out all their theories, make sure everything mixes and matches well, etc. That's not really my style. I'm much more of a rapid prototyper. I do better if I can touch it and I can try it. So I'm implementing it. Now, here's the thing. So basically we're building the structure. That's what we're doing today. We've created a component for our progression. It tracks how many magic shards you've collected, and then it should show you what you've collected, and then that will let us try out all of the different magic types to see, you know, how it balances and all those kinds of things. Now, the reason I say that, I don't know if cheating is the right word for it, but the reason I say that is we're implementing stuff and we're doing some art that we probably could do with debug menus. But here's my rationalization. In order for me to get this table implemented in debug so that I can press a button and try melee echo tier 1, 2, 3, etc., it is reasonably close to the same amount of work that it is going to take me to just build the UI. And my added bonus is the goal of this is I want you all to be able to help me playtest this. I cannot be asking all of our players who are giving us their precious time to be opening debug menus and trying to figure out how that works and what buttons to click or whatever. So I'm kind of just making the progression system. So that's the context. We are deep in the middle of this. So let me show you what this looks like right now. Okay, so a bunch of things. First off, we have, oh, that dude stole, hold on, we're going to restart this. That dude stole my double jump. Let me go pick up my double jump before he does. Okay, so we got a bunch of enemies to test with. Where we kind of had left off before was we were working on some of our melee attacks and stuff like that. And you can see we've got increasing damage, etc. We brought back our ranged attacks. You can see we've got damage spread going, so lightning will travel between the next 3 characters. But that's not what's important. What's important is these little items that I'm collecting as I go. Now, what we're doing is as these items get, I just need to do a couple of them, and this is something we can definitely do with debug. We can cheat this, where I can just have the items to start with. Okay, so I think we got enough. Now, if we press inventory, this brings up our new inventory interface. And you can start to see the can of worms that we have. Okay, so what do we have going on here? And I'm going to show you how all of this stuff works. But we basically have our core abilities and our relic path abilities. And these are each of the magic types. And this is how many shards you have equipped in each of these magic types so far. Now, these are shards that we've picked up that we have not used yet. That's down here. And this is other items. Right now, we only have Bitcoin. So this is all controlled by the drop system and percentages of drops, etc. That's not what's important. This is all created using one button that is shaded and then reused, etc. Now you'll notice that right now the wielded weave is stasis, and we currently have no means of changing this. It's just, that's what it is. In fact, this doesn't even do anything. It's just a stand-in placeholder. So the goal that we are currently in right now is to make all of this work so that we can test it. What we need is, if we mouse over one of these things, I mean, I don't even know where to start, but we need so many things, it's nuts, okay? So right now, this is just getting the skeletal structure in place for the UI. Ideally, when you mouse over these things, like let's say that I was going to equip a fracture shard. Here's a fracture shard. I have 3 of them. So technically what we want is the ability to equip a fracture shard. But before I click it, we want to show how that changes our stats. So we want our melee attack and range attack stats to update. And we have to choose whether or not we're going to use it in core ability or whether or not we're going to use it on our relic path. And so we'll need space over here for our relic, which one we're using right now, how that potentially changes and things like that. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to get all of this connected and working so that once that's working, then we can start to balance it. Then we can start to be like, okay, we have a mechanism in place that allows us to upgrade our core abilities and things like that. Is balancing a case of there's too many tiers, there's not enough tiers, the tiers are too powerful, these spells don't work together? This is all the stuff that we're going to have to figure out, and this is all the stuff that hopefully over time you all are going to help me test as well. So now that I've shown you this UI, let's dig into a little bit of how this is all set up currently, and we're going to kind of get going.
I have one question.
Yeah, hit me. I need to breathe.
You talk about mouse over. I'm a gamepad player. Have you pre-planned a cursor type of thing, or how different is the approach with the gamepad than it is with just mouse?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think in as a whole, we're gonna need to hold on. We're gonna need to make it so that whether it's the D-pad or whatever, it's easy for you to move back and forth across these columns. So I haven't yet tackled that yet. We may make it so that the gamepad will let you move the mouse when you're on the screen. That could be a thing. I'm still working that part out. But yes, that is a thing. You can kind of see the gamepad up button over here is how we even close the UI. So it's there. I will not release this for you all to playtest until I have that sorted out, because I actually think this game will probably end up being better on controller. I'm not positive, but I think it might be.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So we're not. It's easier for me to test with keyboard and mouse right now, just to get things built, set up, etc. But before we launch, before I patch and let you all give this crazy mix a test, the gamepad will be. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out gamepad first. So, okay. So how's this all set up? So we have a component. This is our I keep wanting to call it the compression component, but it's not. It's our progression component. This is actually really simple. So for those of you that are worried that I'm going down this huge rabbit hole of creating all these crazy top-heavy systems, etc., for a system that we haven't even tested or proven or balanced, it's not. It's literally 2 arrays. Okay, one of the arrays is the name of the magic type, the class, and how many stacks you have of it. That's it. The other one is the relic. That's it. That's what powers this. Okay, and then what happens is the UI or the ability system or whatever can call get relic progression for type, and it will return the value. And then we're going to take that value and we're going to use that to look up in a table what our damage numbers should be. That's the ultimate thing. So the progression component is super straightforward, super easy. Okay, not too much time spent there, other than the time spent thinking about how all this is going to theoretically work. All right, now this beast is a little more fun. So I did not lay all this stuff out. Once again, I want to iterate. We're going for speed here. We're not going for whatever. So this is all laid out procedurally. So the way this works is in our construction script, what we do is when on our pre-construct, what I do is I define an array of vertical boxes for our core abilities and vertical boxes for our relic abilities. And I add those to an array, right? So we have core vertical boxes and relic vertical boxes. And specifically what I'm referring to here is these vertical boxes here. These are the vertical boxes for core, fracture, echo, pulse, and drift. So those get all added to an array. This could be even more procedural than it is, but it's fine. And then we initialize. And when we initialize, what we do is classic array stuff, right? We go through for every single one of our core vertical boxes. We go through right now 15 times. If the index matches any of our tier levels, we increase the size of our icon to be bigger. That's how they get bigger. Otherwise, they're the normal size. And then we add that as a child. So all of these columns are actually being added in the pre-construct, basically. Okay. and my music stopped. So let me make sure I'm still here. Okay, cool, I'm still here. Then when we're done, this gets initialized, or the progression gets updated. Now, the way the progression gets updated is it just gets the compression component, progression component, and then what we do is for each of our slots, we get the children, and for each one we check to see if the index matches, and if the index of the current shard button is less than the number of shards we have in that type, then we go ahead and mark it as slotted and we update our visuals. That's it. So getting all of those pieces to kind of show up is not a crazy amount of time spent. What is going to be more interesting, and kind of what we're working on right now, is we need a way to look up the damage numbers for each of these things. So to do that, what I want to do is let's do a couple things here. So for this, there's a couple things we could do. We could make it so that we can spend a resource to add to our abilities. So for example, let's do this. If we go back in, let's make it so that when we click one of these, it will add to our ability, or it will increase our progression for that item. So let's see here. Let's think about this. We have our shards, which I don't see here. So maybe they're up here. UI, loadout. That's our buttons. Find references. Not used. That doesn't make it. Oh, that's because we're using the material. Okay. Oh, that's used by the fracture ID. Dude, this has to be in here. Health bar. Quick bar. Shard. Here we go. I was not looking for a white box. All right. So this is our shard. And what happens is we basically update the visuals. And then in here, we grab the item definition. We find the fragment. We get the definition. Okay, let's see here. What is this doing? This is on clicked. Okay, so this is left over from a previous thing. So what we need to do is, we shouldn't have to check this. We know this is a shard. So we don't need this. Okay. So we're going to get the item definition for this shard, which we define when we build it. So we know it is a fracture shard or stasis shard or whatever. Then we're going to grab that. Okay. Then we're going to get the player. We're going to get the equipment manager. Okay. Because we don't actually need the equipment manager. What we need is the inventory component manager. And the reason we need that is we need to know we're going to have to remove it when we click. So that's kind of what happens here. All right, getting there. So I don't think we need the equipment because this removes the stack. That removes an item instance, and we broadcast the message. Okay, cool. So I believe I don't even think we need the equipment def. But we do need the component compression. Man, God, progression. So we need our compression component. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to find we want to add to it. So in our, I don't think we have an add yet. We have a get relic progression for type. That might be something we want to do. But what we really want is we want to, should we call it consume? Consume core progression shard, for example. Okay, and in here we're going to need an input. That input is going to be a shard. No, it's an item definition. Item definition. Class object reference. Okay, and this is going to be shard class. All right, and then what we want to do is we want to get this. We want to find this class, and if we find, like let's say we're doing stasis, we're going to check our core progression for stasis. If we find it, that's a left click and holding B. If we find it, what we want to do is we want to update it. We want to get what does this do? This is the value associated with the key. Okay, we're going to take that key and we're going to +1 it. Let's go add 1. That's true. And then we want to take our core progression and we want to add is empty. We need the keys. I think we need keys. Maps work really super weird. And let's find, actually we need that. How do I update a map, y'all? Add. Set core progression. Nope. I'm complete. What's that? Save me, Naroda. I'm totally spacing on how maps and keys.
Add didn't work?
If I add, no, it's not that. It's that's not it either. Okay, so map clear contains find length remove values. Values. This gets the values. Value. Set core progression. No, that's not it. It is values for each. Oh, I think this is what it is. For each. Oh, no. This is what it is. Okay, so we need the key. Oh, God. Okay, now I remember. Keys. All right. So we get the keys. Okay, and then what we do is for each key, we have to go through them. Okay, we have to array element, array index. For each key, we need to get, find, okay, and then we need to, no, I'm still right back where I was. Set. I have used a map before, I swear. I'm trying to remember where else I've done this.
I'm trying to think if I actually add things to maps anywhere in my game. I don't think I do.
I know I've done this. UI. I would do this in the inventory manager, probably. Let's check a couple of these. No maps there. Compression, save load. No maps there. Item drops. There's got to be maps in here. Ooh.
I think that it is add.
It is add? Okay. Oh, yes. Actually, you're right. I think you're right, because I think what it does is it overwrites it. So if we take this and we add, no, hold on, let's try this. Add. Yes, dude, you're right. God. Because it overwrites it. It doesn't actually add it. If it has the same class, we're going to add to that value. So this will overwrite it. Oh. Okay, cool. So we're going to consume a core progression shard for a shard class. We're going to do that by adding. All right, so we're going to do that when we click. However, we've got a little bit of a challenge, because remember, our loadout is loading all these buttons. We need to be able to call back to refresh our loadout when the shard tile is clicked. I don't know if the shard tile has a reference to our loadout. Also double checking the YouTube. Okay, cool. So we have shard class. Usually I do something like call it parent UI, which I do not have here. So let's add that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to update our shard class to include I just did this for another UI. Let me think for a second. It was there's something that I was updating. Oh well, let's do it again. So in here, let's take, oh, maybe it was our ability tree. Graph. Yeah, no, it's not. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to, for our loadout, we are going to implement an interface. The interface is going to be so that we can call back to it. So in our graph, in our interfaces, we already have one. Notify parent widget. I like it. So update current active inventory. What we want to do is in here, we should just do the same thing. We should update our progression. Update progression. So let's add that to our update. Compile and save. So then in our shard tiles, all we need is a handle to this. Let's do a quick search on this. Find reference. Find name. I want to double check where that's being used. It's in the ability tile. That makes sense. So in our ability tile, we are storing this parent. Let's see here, where is it? Parent widget as a Lyra activatable widget. Yeah, I don't like that. We're going to, in our loadout, when we do our creating of the shards, not gonna worry about that. We are going to, in our shard tile, add parent widget. Okay, and this is just gonna be, let's just try making this a widget. A widget object reference. Let's compile and save that. And then back here in our loadout, let's right click this and refresh it. Oh, forgot to make it instance editable and read only. Wrong one. Instance editable, not read only. Expose on spawn. Compile and save. Oh, dude, I forgot to do perforce today. Okay, so we're back. And in here, that's cool. And then inside of our loadout, right click refresh. There's our parent widget. Let's get a reference to self here. And we'll go ahead and do that. Compile and save. Okay, so now when that happens, when we click, what's going to happen is we're going to get our stuff. We're going to get our only player. We're going to get our component by class, our Dumaflachi. Let's store this if we haven't already. I don't believe we have. We haven't. This is going to be our progression component. Okay. If it's valid, we're going to store that we have it. And then all we should have to do is call our new fancy function, consume core progression shard. Let's try it. So we're going to consume core progression shard. And the shard that we want to consume is the one that we got from our item definition. No. Let's see here. That may be the wrong type. Our item definition. Where do we get our shard class from? Oh, it's just a variable we pass in. We don't even need to do that. We should already have it. So this should be our shard class that we built this shard around entirely. So that should just be that. And then we should be able to, with our parent widget, call our blueprint interface, which was update. What the heck was that thing called? It was called notify parent widget. Notify parent widget. Cool. So we've made our update. So theoretically we're consuming it. That's gone up. Then we're notifying our parent widget, and then we'll do the removal and all that stuff. But for right now, let's not remove it. Let's just try it. Let's just see if this works. Okay. So we need a shard to consume. We probably need to check to see, and we should also just, this is what I mean from a debugging, but we got enough shards, I think. Okay, we at least have an echo shard. Okay, so if I click to consume this, it didn't do anything. So let's do some debugging. Shard tile. Oh, well, actually, yeah, let's just see if we're even getting the click. Okay, we are clicking. That's great. We're getting our fragment. Oh, but the fragment's not valid. Why is that? Oh, because our inventory item's not set. Ah, we did this wrong. We should not be using that. We should be using shard class. Because we don't actually have an item for this. I'm not even sure why we need to check if the equipable item is valid. I don't think we need that. Yeah, we're not going to do that. I don't think we need any of that. Just going to skip straight to here. We know our shard class is good. We're going to check if we have... Let's just do it like that. Okay, so in order for our character to start with legit items, so we don't have to keep doing stuff, this is where we get a little bit into debugging. Let's see what we have available to us. We have compression, nothing there. Do we have a default inventory? It's been so long since I've messed with inventory. We do not. So that's going to be on the ability set, hero data, I believe. So hero data, there's an ability set, input data, pawn class. Nope, not what we're looking for. This is granted gameplay effect, granted attributes, health set. All right, let's try something. Inventory. That's the tile. That's not what we want. Inventory. We have our toggling of the inventory. Somewhere our inventory gets added. So in our toggling of the inventory, we are dude, where does that component get added? It's got to be somewhere there is a list of components that gets added as part of this whole thing. Seraphine's quest, component list, equipment manager, inventory manager. So we're adding the inventory manager here. Okay, so in our 2D pawn, what we could do is we could get the inventory manager, add to it. We could do all that stuff. That would work. Or what might work even faster is let's just make a bunch of little drops. So we're going to go ahead and drag this out. And then over here, underneath our item def, we're going to add shards. So that's a drift shard. And actually, I think I can add 5 of them. Let's just test that real quick. If I walk over this thing. Oh, it only gave me 1. So it doesn't pay attention to the number, but at least it gives me the 1. That's fine. We can fix that later. That's a bug for future us. Where did that go? Item def. So I guess 1 is all it is. And then let's do... Oh, you know what? Can I add more than 1 here? Can you all see this okay? My head's not blocking that, is it?
It's... I mean... we can see where you're currently working.
Okay, cool. So I think what I can do is I can just
That's
add,
fine. Yeah.
I can just add all of them here. See if we can do it with one drop. So this is going to be, I don't know why I called these. Let's do shard echo and shard fracture. And then so that should give me one of each of those. And then if we just duplicate this thing a couple times, we should have a bunch of them. So if we walk over this, it gave me 4 drift shards. So I don't know whoever built that thing, but they obviously did a great job. Okay, so note to past self, do better. Let's see here. So let's just change this. let's go shard echo. Apparently we can only pick up one at a time with this. That's a different bug. Shard fracture, shard drift. All right, so these 3 we can now duplicate a bunch of times. All right, now again, F11. Oh no. Oh, whew. Okay, cool. We do. We have 4 echo shards and 4 drift shards. Now, we have not even like processed like whether or not you're clicking on the right one. So let's just try an echo. Oh, dude, did you see it change colors? It totally changed colors. Yeehaw.
Nice.
Now, here's the problem. We can click whatever we want. Doesn't matter. There's no limits.
And doesn't deduct anything from what you have.
Nope, not yet. So we definitely want to fix that. But it's cool because it's connected. It's one step at a time. All right, hold on. What is happening? Dude, I don't understand what's happening right now. There we go. So F11. Okay. And pull that. Okay, cool. So now, that's working. Now let's see if the rest of our stuff works. Let's close this down so I don't accidentally make edits I don't want. We don't need the 2D hero pawn. We don't need save load or the game mode. Okay, so when we click now, theoretically, we should be able to take interesting, but we don't have an inventory item, do we? I don't think we do, because there is no inventory item. We need to find it is the problem. Okay, so there's a disconnect here between I messed up. So even though we can like go ahead and click to add the stuff, we do need our inventory manager because we need to find that inventory item to make sure that we're allowed to do this in the first place. Because if we don't have that shard, we should not be able to click, is kind of what we need to do. So let's back this up and add in all the stuff. How are we doing time-wise? We're doing all right. We need to add in all the stuff to make sure it is valid, to make sure that we are actually allowed to click that shard. So as long as this is valid, we're going to keep going. And then I have not worked with the inventory system in a long time. Find first item stack by definition. That sounds promising. Oh, look at that. it takes a definition. Shard class. Okay. We need. I need to refresh my brain on how this stuff works. So let me look at some other older blueprints. So in the ability tree, this gets the equipped ones. The way that works is we get all the items in the inventory and then we go through them, and for each one we get the equipped ones, and if it has the stat tag then it registers it. Okay, so that's interesting. That's one way to do it. This is another use. Okay, that's that. Add inventory items. Okay, this is in the another ability tree, another ability. Get the inventory item. What does this do? That checks to see if it is an ability item. Okay. That adds the item to the active slot. That's not what we want. This gets the item definition. If it's valid, we get the equipment definition, and then we remove item from slot. That looks promising. Actually, no. That is going to remove it from the quick bar. That's not what we want either. But we're getting closer. That adds the item to a slot. And the slot is still the quick bar here. Ah, here we go. Consumables. Nice. So we get the definition. We find the fragment. Check if it's valid. We get the equipment definition. We equip it. Interesting. Remove the stat tag for the item. Who are we removing the stat tag from? We remove the item instance from the inventory manager component. And that's if the stat tag is less than or equal to, I see. Okay, so what we're doing is we're getting the player, we're getting the equipment manager. From the equipment manager, we are, wait, where's this inventory item coming from? Oh, it's just passed in as part of the inventory tile. So we need to find the inventory item is basically what we need to do. So what do we have available to us here? Inventory. Can I add item? Find first item stack by definition. Get all items. Add item definition. Remove item instance. What does this return? Oh, cool. This does work. Okay, so this returns an inventory item for us. So what we can do is we can set that here. Okay, so now we have our inventory item. Cool. Then we come in, we consume the shard. We notify the parent, that's fine. Then we remove a stat tag. Then if we have less than one, la-di-da-di-da, we remove the item instance entirely from the thing. We should really wait to do this notify parent until after we're completely done. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Control drag, please. Also, save all. Okay, so then we're going to come out of here. We're going to do this, true or false. We're going to go ahead and notify the parent. Now, is there any way that we can accidentally not notify the parent? No. Okay, so theoretically, if we play now, we bring up our inventory. We did not pick up those items. Okay, if we equip a fracture shard, it did equip it, and now we have 3. Okay, so it sort of worked. It sort of worked from the standpoint of we have 3 fractures. If I click 2 more times, now we have 1 fracture. If I click 1 more time, we have no fracture shards. So they are being consumed. However, the UI is not being updated, and we do have echo shards, so those work. But I can continually click even though I don't have them, so we got to fix that. And I can click on pulses even though we don't have them. And interesting enough, it will add them to the thing. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a control thing that we got to do. So let's go. And in here, we only want to do this if we have stat tags in this thing. Find first item stack definition. So let's do a couple things. I feel like we should do this only if this is valid. Again, is valid. So I think this will take care of the case where we don't have those shards. Let's double check. Remember, shards are just item definitions. I keep calling them shards because that's the game. So I don't have any stasis shards. I cannot click. That's sweet. So that works. Okay. Fracture shards I have, but I can click. Oh, look, that actually solved a bunch of problems. Hold on. We may be good to go, y'all. Echo shards. I can click as many times as I have echo shards. I cannot click pulse, and I can click drift as many as I have drift. The only thing we have left, oh dude, it's working, y'all. The only thing we have left to do is update our inventory, which hopefully past me was kind of future me, and there's an update for me there. So let's just check. So inside of compile and save, why didn't that save? Okay, inside, we don't need our ability trees. We don't use these anymore. We don't need ability tiles. We need our loadout. Okay, so inside of our loadout, we have initialize, update progression, notify parent, on activate, update current active inventory. Update current active inventory. What does this do? Gets the only player, gets the slots, gets the item, finds a type. Yeah, so this does nothing. That is useless. Update combat stats. Add inventory items. This is where it goes through and adds all the items. It clears them. Okay, so hold up a second. Where do we call this? By name. So we add inventory items in the pre-construct. Makes sense. We only need to do it for the consumables, by the way. And we're not doing it for the range grid. That's fine. And then we update our combat sets. Okay, so we do not have an update inventory items. But what we could do, because of the way this was written, what this does is it comes in and it gets the grid to fill, and then based on the grid to fill, it clears the grid and then re-adds the children. So we're going to go with that route. So let's do this. We're going to do consumables. And when we notify our parent, which is this one, we're just going to do this again. Compile, save, and play. All right, so theoretically, with 1 minute to spare, if I bring up my inventory and I click on a fracture, it does not update the fracture shards. Dagnabbit. Interesting. Why not? Is it calling? I thought we were gonna be there, y'all. First time ever. Nope. Okay. In our loadout, let's check. Let's put a breakpoint on this and just do one quick check here. We're close. Super close. Uh-oh. Every now and then, it's like the inventory manager isn't initialized or something. Oh no, it's not that it's not initialized. I know what's happening. It is initialized. It's just that we're hitting a breakpoint and we can't see it because we're full screen. That's what it is. Okay. Okay, so let's go back. Full screen. Bring, oh, okay. All right, we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do this a different way. Let's go play, and then we'll just do it small. We don't we don't need it to be big. All right. All right. So if we click echo, why aren't we hitting that breakpoint? Oh, because I put it in the wrong place. Come on. Where's our notify parent? Here we go. That's all it was? If that's all it was, I'm going to be bummed. But excited too. All right. Okay, I, and then echo. Yes. Okay, so our echo shards are now being consumed. Drift shards are being consumed. They go away. And then we got to get our fracture colors to match, but that would be nice. But they do go away, and we can't click on anything we don't want. So I'm calling that a victory. There's still you can still see here, like we're like, I don't want to say we're in the weeds. There is still a lot of work to be done here because of the way this data table like all like just couldn't converge. It's all woven together. Basically, the next steps that are going to happen is, so now we're able to add to our progression, but what we need to do is we need to connect this to the data table. So depending on how much I get done between now and our next dev stream, we might be connecting a data table, or we might be doing kind of the next thing, which is going to be testing all of this stuff out and figuring out how all of it works. But there's a lot of little pieces that go into this, but this for me is far easier to test than setting up a debug UI, etc. And it also makes it accessible for you all when we get to the actual combat playtest, where the more I thought about the combat playtest, the more I was like, what am I going to do? You're just going to sit in there and say melee attack and range attack? That's going to be dumb. That's not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be meaningful. So my combat playtest plan has ballooned a little bit, and I would like to give you full access to the full progression of the magic types in there. At least one type. I may not build them all because I still have to build all the relics for all of them as well. Anyways, you get the idea. I went from just how does melee attack feel, how does range attack feel, to that is a very short-lived playtest, to how do we actually, put a little bit more juice in that squeeze and make it so that when we do our combat playtest, we're testing a few more things. So it could be overwhelming. We'll see, but that is the plan. So before I wrap up the stream, did you all have any questions that you all wanted to add in for the stream's sake?
Nope.
All right, very cool. Everybody else who's watching this later on, as always, thanks for being part of this adventure. My name's Kevin. Hop in Patreon, hop in Discord, helping spread the word. Awesome. Thank you in advance. I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy.